Are you tired of depending on medications? Always going to the pharmacy? Has gastritis been your worst nightmare lately? Calm down, because you found the right video. So stay with me until the end because I'm here to help you. Let's take this step by step. And make sure to subscribe to the channel now because this video may not appear for you again. So subscribe now and let's get straight to the point. You wake up every single day with that feeling, a burning that climbs up the middle of your chest, stinging like someone poured hot vinegar right into the center of your stomach. You eat breakfast with fear. You eat lunch with worry. You have dinner with your hand already reaching for the antacid in the nightstand drawer. And at night, when you lie down, the burning comes back, rises up your throat, and you sleep with two pillows hoping the acid won't climb any higher. I'm a physician with nearly 20 years of clinical experience, and I've spent those years closely following people who live exactly like this, trapped in a cycle of stomach pain that seems to have no end. This doesn't have to keep going. And I need to be honest with you right from the start. The title of this video talks about a tea that makes gastritis disappear and helps your stomach heal. And I'm going to show you exactly what science has confirmed about the power of this specific drink. I'm going to teach you how to prepare it, when to take it, and the complete pillars that can transform your stomach lining from the inside out. But my commitment to you is medical truth, not sensationalism. No tea in the world, on its own, reverses gastritis caused by bacteria without proper medical treatment. No tea replaces your doctor. What does exist, and exists with solid scientific evidence, is a natural drink that, combined with the changes I'm about to teach you, may help relieve symptoms in just a few days and support healing of the gastric lining over a few weeks. And that's exactly what you're going to learn today. Before we go any further, I need you to understand what's happening inside your stomach right now. Gastritis is an inflammation of the stomach lining. The stomach is one of the most impressive machines in your body. It produces an acid so powerful it can dissolve meat, fiber, seeds. To protect itself from its own acid, the stomach has a layer of mucus, a kind of internal protective blanket, thin as a veil, that coats every inch of the gastric wall. Think of your stomach as a swimming pool full of acid, lined with a rubber coating. As long as that rubber stays intact, everything works fine. When it tears, the acid starts burning the wall underneath. And that's exactly what's happening to anyone with gastritis. The numbers are striking. According to data from the American College of Gastroenterology, more than 50% of American adults experience some degree of gastritis at some point in their lives. And more than half of those cases are linked to a bacterium called Helicobacter pylori, a spiral-shaped microorganism that hides under the mucus layer and starts eroding the protection of the gastric wall from within. Other cases come from chronic stress, prolonged use of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, low-fiber diets, alcohol, smoking, and a huge portion has functional origins, linked to the gut-brain axis, poor sleep, and anxiety. Let me introduce you to Margaret, 56 years old, a line cook with talented hands, born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, mother of 4, grandmother of 7. She walked into my office on a Tuesday morning carrying a plastic shopping bag filled with medication boxes, proton pump inhibitors for 8 years, liquid antacid every single day. She told me, with her voice cracking, "Doctor, I've cooked for other people my whole life, but I can't even eat properly anymore. I put a tiny piece of bread in my mouth, and the burning starts climbing right back up." Her endoscopy showed moderate inflammatory gastritis. The Helicobacter pylori test came back negative. What was destroying Margaret's stomach was the combination: 16-hour shifts on her feet in a hot kitchen, black coffee on an empty stomach, lunches eaten standing up in 5 minutes, soda to wash down the food, and the stress of a lifetime spent carrying everyone else on her back. Margaret is the real face of anyone suffering with gastritis, and it's because of her, and because of you, who might be recognizing yourself right now, that I'm going to walk you through what science has actually proven works. The tea that changes the game with gastritis, the main character of this video, is licorice root tea, specifically the form known as DGL, which stands for deglycyrrhizinated licorice. Studies published in the Journal of Ethnopharmacology and research conducted at major American universities have shown that the active compounds in licorice root, mainly the flavonoids and glycyrrhetinic acid derivatives, do 3 things inside the stomach. First, they may help reduce excess acid production, meaning less acid attacking an already wounded wall. Second, they support increased mucus production, reinforcing that rubber coating I mentioned earlier. Third, they have natural anti-inflammatory action on the lining, helping support the healing of eroded areas. Pay attention to this detail. This isn't a tea that just soothes. It's a tea that may work on 3 fronts at once, in a way somewhat similar to what modern acid blockers do, but with a plant-based origin and a much more favorable safety profile for long-term supportive use. The way to prepare it is simple and precise. You're going to use 1 tablespoon of dried licorice root, the deglycyrrhizated kind, for 1 cup of about 8 ounces of water. Bring the water to a near boil. Just before it reaches a full rolling boil, turn off the heat, add the root, cover the cup, and let it steep for 10 minutes. Strain it. Drink it plain. No sugar, no honey, twice a day. 1 cup on an empty stomach, 20 minutes before breakfast. Another cup in the evening, before dinner, at least 30 minutes before eating. That timing matters because the active compounds need to coat an empty stomach to work the way they're supposed to. But listen to me carefully. On its own, this tea does part of the work, and it's an important part. But the real transformation of your stomach happens when this tea becomes part of a complete protocol, with pillars that support each other. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you now. 4 pillars, in order, from the most immediate to the deepest. The first pillar is the pillar of fast relief. This is where the licorice root tea I just taught you fits in. Twice a day, every day, for at least 4 weeks. But the fast relief pillar also means immediately removing the 3 big inflammatory triggers from your routine. The first trigger, black coffee on an empty stomach. I know it hurts to hear that. But pure coffee on an empty stomach, in a body where the lining is already wounded, is like throwing gasoline onto a fire that was already burning the floor. You don't have to give up coffee forever. You need to delay it until after you've eaten something, and ideally, in the first 2 weeks, replace it with warm water and lemon, or with the licorice root tea itself. And here's the point almost nobody talks about. The second trigger, soda and any kind of carbonated beverage. The carbon dioxide bubbles mechanically expand the stomach wall, force the lower esophageal sphincter to relax, and open the door to reflux. Think of it like setting off small air bombs inside a pool that's already overflowing. The water spills over. The third trigger, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs taken without medical guidance. That pill for headaches, that one for back pain. They block an enzyme called cyclooxygenase, which is the very same enzyme that protects the gastric lining. So in plain English, you take a pill to relieve one pain and create a much worse one inside your stomach. The second pillar is the pillar of rebuilding the lining. And here's where specific foods come in, with strong scientific backing that helps support the regeneration of that protective rubber coating. The first is steamed cabbage. It might sound simple, but cabbage is rich in sulforaphane, a compound that studies published in the American Journal of Gastroenterology have shown to have direct action against Helicobacter pylori and the ability to support regeneration of the cells in the stomach lining. Eat a small portion, about the size of your palm, with lunch every day. The second food is the banana, especially a well-ripened one. It contains a substance called leucocyanidin, which supports increased gastric mucus production and has natural soothing action over erosions in the stomach wall. 1 banana between meals, mid-morning or mid-afternoon, makes a difference you can feel in just a few days. And here's the number that impressed me. A study conducted at the University of Sydney showed that patients with mild to moderate gastritis who ate a ripe banana daily for 4 weeks reported a 62% reduction in burning and upper abdominal pain symptoms. The third food is sweet potato or yam, cooked. Both are rich in mucilage, soluble fibers that form a natural gel over the stomach wall, creating an extra layer of temporary protection while your original lining recovers. Think of it this way. While the contractor is fixing the wall, the mucilage is the plastic sheeting that covers the work, so the rain doesn't ruin it. Before we move on to the next pillars, I need to ask you for one favor. If this content is helping you, if you're learning things nobody ever explained to you this way about your stomach, please tap that like button right now. That simple gesture helps this video reach more people who are silently suffering with gastritis and reflux. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, do it now and turn on the bell. And tell me in the comments which state you're watching from. I love seeing where this community is growing. The third pillar is the pillar of balancing the gut-brain axis. And this is where a piece of data is going to genuinely surprise you. Researchers at Harvard Medical School have shown that around 70% of cases of functional gastritis, where the endoscopy shows inflammation, but there's no bacteria or clear organic cause, are directly linked to chronic stress, untreated anxiety, and poor sleep. The stomach has more than 100 million of its own neurons. Scientists call it the second brain. When your upper brain goes into alert mode, it releases cortisol, and excess cortisol reduces blood flow to the stomach wall, lowers protective mucus production, and increases pain sensitivity. In plain English, stress is not an imaginary cause of gastritis. It's a biological cause, measurable and proven. Now I want to introduce you to Walter. 63 years old, a retired truck driver, born and raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma. He came to my office with an endoscopy showing erosive gastritis, a negative bacteria test, and no use of anti-inflammatories. When I dug into his daily routine, here's what I found. He woke up at 4 in the morning, slept poorly, was constantly worried about a retirement check that came in lower than expected, drank black coffee on an empty stomach, ate lunch in 15 minutes while watching cable news full of tragedy, and fell asleep on the couch after dinner with the television still on. He told me something I'll never forget. "Doc, I've never been a drinker, never smoked a day in my life. How is my stomach this messed up?" Walter's stomach wasn't being destroyed by alcohol. It was being destroyed by a lifetime of cortisol from holding the world on his shoulders. The third pillar works on this axis, and it has 3 practical fronts. First front, diaphragmatic breathing. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. You inhale through the nose, counting to 4, hold for 2, and exhale through the mouth, counting to 6. This activates the vagus nerve, the nerve of calm, and measurably reduces cortisol over several weeks. Second front, your dinner needs to end at least 3 hours before you lie down. That gap gives the stomach time to empty and dramatically reduces nighttime reflux. Third front, sleep. A minimum of 7 hours, total darkness in the bedroom, no phone in the 40 minutes before bed. Restorative sleep is free medicine for your stomach lining. The fourth pillar is the pillar of consistency, and it might be the hardest of them all. 7 days don't reverse years of buildup. You'll start feeling relief from the most acute symptoms in 1 to 2 weeks. But the real regeneration of the lining, the genuine rebuilding of that protective rubber coating, requires a commitment of at least 12 weeks, 3 months. You can't drink the tea for 5 days, feel better, and go right back to black coffee on an empty stomach on day 6. You can't eat banana and cabbage for a week, feel relief, and abandon everything by Sunday's family dinner. And here's where the conversation gets really important. What hurts me most as a physician isn't when a patient walks in with advanced gastritis. It's when, years after they got better, they come back to square one because they thought they were cured and abandoned the habits. The stomach, unlike many other organs, has an inflammatory memory. Every new acute episode leaves deeper marks, and every relapse becomes harder to bring under control. Caring for your stomach is a lifelong commitment, not a 4-week treatment. Now I want to tell you what happened to Margaret, the cook from Cleveland who opened this video with her stomach in shambles. She followed the protocol. She replaced the black coffee on an empty stomach with licorice root tea twice a day. She cut out soda. She started eating a ripe banana mid-morning and steamed cabbage at lunch. She learned diaphragmatic breathing and started sleeping 3 hours after dinner. She came back to the office 16 weeks later with a follow-up endoscopy. The lining, once red and inflamed, looked pink, intact, and healthy. She told me, with tears in her eyes, "Doctor, it feels like something changed inside me. The other morning I actually woke up wanting breakfast for the first time in years." That sentence is my paycheck. Let's recap what we learned today. Pillar 1, fast relief. Licorice root tea, the deglycyrrhizinated form, twice a day, on an empty stomach and before dinner, for at least 4 weeks. Immediately remove black coffee on an empty stomach, soda, and self-prescribed anti-inflammatories. Pillar 2, rebuilding the lining. Steamed cabbage at lunch, ripe banana between meals, sweet potato or yam as a side. Pillar 3, gut-brain axis. 5 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing twice a day, dinner 3 hours before lying down, 7 hours minimum of sleep in complete darkness. Pillar 4, consistency. 3 months without backsliding. And what to avoid in 1 sentence. Nothing excessively cold, nothing carbonated, nothing overly spicy, nothing fried and greasy, no long fasting periods followed by oversized meals. Smaller portions, several times a day, chewed slowly, in a calm setting. And whenever you're going to make any change to your treatment, please talk with your trusted physician first. If you're using a proton pump inhibitor, blood thinners, or have any other condition, introducing any herbal supplement needs to be discussed and personalized. That premise never changes. Your stomach is not your enemy. It's an extraordinary machine that's calling out for help in the only way it knows how, with burning, with pain, with that uncomfortable feeling after meals. Their cries, their warnings, and health, at the end of the day, doesn't live in the pharmacy aisle. It lives in the choices you make at breakfast, in what you put on your lunch plate, in the glass you reach for before bed. Share this video with that family member who's always reaching for an antacid in secret, with that friend who complains about heartburn every time you have lunch together, with that coworker who keeps a bottle of acid blockers in the top drawer of their desk. You can change the daily life of those people with one simple share. In the next video, I'm going to reveal the 5 foods that look completely innocent that are sitting in your refrigerator right now, but that are silently making your reflux worse every single night. Number 3 you eat thinking it's the healthiest item on the list, and it's actually the worst of them all. You won't want to miss it. Take care of your stomach. It's the sacred pool that receives everything you choose to put inside your body, and the rubber coating that lines that pool deserves all the respect in the world.